asking yourself, okay, I don't want to go through the motions, but there's many excuses as to why we should go through the motions. And the first excuse may be, well, I'm too old. It's my job to lead the way for the youth. My time is past. It's not my time anymore. Well, let me tell you a little something. You're not too old. You're still here. You still have something to do. Benjamin Franklin, he didn't invent bifocals until he was 78. Winston Churchill was also 78 and finished with more than a couple of careers when he wrote the book that won a Nobel Prize for Literature. Nelson Mandela was the inaugurated president of South Africa at the age of 75. Igor Stravinsky was still doing concerts when he was 87. Grandma Moses, the artist, she sold her first painting when she was 90. And Billy Graham was still preaching and spreading God's word when he died at the age of 99. You're not too old, that's not an excuse. So I want everyone to take a breath. Really big breath. One more time, ready? What does that mean? That means you're breathing. If you're breathing, you're still alive. If you're still alive, you're still here. If you're still here, God has something for you to do. You can't quit, you can't give up. Time is precious. So I want to tell you a little story about someone before the praise band continues. It's a man named Norman Borlaug. Norman Borlaug was personally responsible for saving the lives of 2 billion people by hybridizing corn and wheat for arid climates. Pretty cool, right? He did a big thing. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to do big things, right? What if I told you it wasn't him, though? Maybe it was someone else. Henry Wallace, the vice president of the United States under Truman, and I know what you're thinking, that wasn't Truman's vice president. Don't forget, Truman had 3 vice presidents. But while Wallace was still vice president, he used the power of his office to create a station in Mexico that sole purpose was to somehow hybridize corn for arid climates. So maybe it wasn't Norman Borlaug that saved the lives of 2 billion people. Maybe it was Henry Wallace. Or it could have been somebody else. George Washington Carver was 19 and a student at Iowa State University. He had a dairy science professor who allowed his 6-year-old son to go on botanical expeditions every weekend with George Washington Carver. So George Washington Carver directed this little boy and showed him what you could do with plants, how you could change humanity with plants. So maybe it wasn't Henry Wallace that saved the 2 billion people. Maybe it was George Washington Carver. Maybe it was him. Or, what if it was somebody else? Moses and Susan Carver did not believe in slavery, but they lived in a slave state. So one cold winter night, Quantrill's raiders attacked their farm, burned everything to the ground, shot several people, and dragged off a woman and her infant baby. Moses Carver set up a meeting with Quantrill's raiders, and within a few days, he took his only black horse and went several hours north. When he arrived, he traded only his horse for what these raiders threw him in a little brown burlap bag. And it was a little, almost dead baby boy. So maybe it wasn't George Washington Carver that saved the 2 billion people. Maybe it was Moses and Susan Carver. Or, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go any further, but you could keep going back and back and back. You don't really know who saved the lives of those 2 billion people. So for you, we could keep going forward and forward and forward. And so these little things that you could do every day for God, turning your work into the majestic, turning mowing the lawn into the majestic, changing your baby's diaper into the majestic. You don't know if those little acts are going to move forward and create a ripple effect to found. So as we listen to this next song, listen to the words. Put yourself in the words and see, well, what am I not doing? How can I occupy this space in between? How can I be the body of Christ and move how He wants me to move and do how He wants me to do? So I pray you would just worship with us and listen to this next song. Thank you.